Refugees from one Rohingya village recount days of horror. GOWEN Washington Post. UKHIA, Bangladesh. The soldiers arrived in the Myanmar village just after 8 a.m., the villager said, ready to fight a war. They fired shots in the air and then, the villagers claim, turned their guns on fleeing residents, who fell dead and wounded in the monsoon-green rice paddies. The military's retribution for a Rohingya militant attack on police posts earlier the day had begun. Mohammed Roshid, a rice farmer, heard the gunfire and fled with his wife and children, but his 80-year-old father, who walked with a stick, wasn't as nimble. Roshid said he saw a soldier grab Yusuf Ali and slit his throat with such ferocity the old man was nearly decapitated. I wanted to go back and save him, but some relatives stopped me because there was so many military. Roshid, 55, said, "It's the saddest thing in my life that I could not do anything for my father." The Myanmar military's clearance operation in the Mong hamlet and dozens of other villages populated by the country's ethnic Rohingya minority triggered an exodus of an estimated 400,000 refugees into Bangladesh, an episode the United Nations human rights chief has called ethnic cleansing. The tide of refugees is expected to grow in the coming days. The newly arrived refugees, dazed, clutching their belongings, some barefoot in ankle-deep mud, have overflowed an existing camp and put up makeshift shelters. Others simply sit on the roadways, fighting crowds as large relief trucks fling down bags of rice or bottles of water. Rights groups say it will take months or years to fully chronicle the devastation they are leaving behind in the nation also known as Burma. Satellite photos show widespread burning, witnesses recount soldiers killing civilians, and the government itself said 176 Rohingya villages stand empty. No total death toll is yet available because the area remains sealed by the military. Nearly a dozen villagers from the Mong hamlet who escaped recounted their last hours in their homes and the long journey that followed. They were interviewed for 2 days in Kutupalong refugee camp near the Bangladesh border, where they arrived last week. Fortify Rights, a Southeast Asia-focused human rights organization, estimates the death toll in Mong and 3 nearby villages to be 150. "I can't count how many," said So-Win, a 10th grade teacher. "We were all watching what the military did. They slaughtered them one by one. And the blood flowed in the streets." Fresh attacks. The latest wave of violence began August 25 when an emerging group of Rohingya militants, the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, attacked 30 police posts and an army base in Rakhine State, killing 12. The subsequent military crackdown has prompted hundreds of thousands of refugees to leave Buddhist-majority Myanmar, until recently ruled by a military junta, and where Rohingya have long faced denial of citizenship and other rights. The International Rescue Committee estimates that eventually 500,000 will flee to Bangladesh, half of the known Rohingya population in the country, most of whom live in troubled Rakhine State. The area has long been riven by tensions between Buddhist villagers and the stateless Rohingya, who have been there for centuries, but who are still considered by the government to be illegal immigrants, Bengalis from neighboring Bangladesh. The crisis has prompted widespread outcry and condemnation of Burma and its de facto leader, Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. She and her government have said little about the plight of the Rohingya, except to reframe it as a national security matter as the new militancy has coalesced. On September 11, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Zeid Ra'ad Al Hussein, called the exodus a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. Hiding out in Mong, a tiny hamlet of about 750 houses that sits along a narrow stretch of the slow-moving Mayu River, the Rohingya had long lived in relative calm, sipping tea with their Buddhist neighbors, villagers say. But their peaceful coexistence ended when Rohingya insurgents launched their attack on police posts. The military crackdown has continued unabated since then. Mohammed Roshid, 23, an auto mechanic, said on the first day of the assault he and his family had just finished their morning prayers and were preparing rice when 3 soldiers appeared in the yard, announcing their arrival with a strafe of machine gun fire and telling residents to leave their homes.